I don't deserve this person. I'm not the type of person who can sustain a relationship with this. I don't believe this person's going to stay with me long term. Therefore, my behaviors reflect my beliefs, and then my results ultimately reflect my behaviors, beliefs, and identity.
This is actually why I'm such an advocate of goals and dreams, Kev, because if you don't have goals and dreams, your fears will take the garden. You having goals and dreams forces you to like feed that aspirational wolf more than the fear wolf.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1084. If it was easy, everyone would have the results you want. Today, for episode number 1085, happy Monday. Are you manifesting your fears? I believe, Alan, you and I have actually talked about what I'm going to speak about, but it's been a long, long time, so this might be a surprise to you, or it might just be a new awareness from a new perspective. So one of the keys, or I guess one of the, what's the word when something creates something else? Like, not reasons. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I got nothing for you. No. You do know. Catalyst.
Nice.
Catalyst. Nice word.
Nice.
One of
Great
the
word.
catalysts, yes, to my personal growth journey was I got my heart broken. And we talk about this often. Pain is usually or oftentimes a motivator that creates the necessity for you to make some sort of change. So I was 25 years old. I lived with my girlfriend in New Hampshire. And she came to me one day and she said, "Hey, Kev, I want to move across the country from New Hampshire to California, and I want to chase my dreams." And I gave her every reason in the world why she shouldn't do that. Gas prices, housing prices, job market, blah, 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 blah. And that was the end of that conversation. And a couple weeks later, she came back to me. And I remember, I'll never forget this. I was literally sitting at my dining room table writing a rap. I was writing music. And she said, "Hey, we need to talk." And I was like, "Damn, okay, this probably isn't going to go well." And she said, and I don't remember the exact phrasing or exactly what she said, but it was along the lines of, "Hey, I really want to go chase my dreams, and I don't think you're the person for me to do that with. And honestly, you're not the person who I fell in love with at the beginning of this relationship." Because I was depressed, I was anxious, I was not outgoing, I was just a shell of myself. That's probably the best way to explain it. But after that conversation, so in that conversation, she basically broke up with me. She said, "I'm going to take some of my stuff and I'm going to go, and I'll come back and get the rest later this week or next week." And I remember sitting at that table, I was writing music, and I remember thinking to myself, Alan, I was like, okay, yeah, that finally happened. Because there was a part of me that expected that to happen for the entire year and a half of our relationship. And when it happened, I actually felt a little bit of relief because I knew I didn't have to worry about it happening anymore. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. I manifested that. I manifested the fear. It started as a fear in the beginning of, I'm not good enough for this person's out of my league, whatever it was, from a low self-worth place that I was living, to me actually manifesting that through my own behavior, through my own lack of belief, getting to the point where I was actually grateful it happened because it took the pressure off of me. And that's kind of what we're talking about today when it comes to manifesting your fears.
Did you not believe that you could be good enough?
I don't think so at a deep level. I mean, it's interesting because I really hadn't done a lot of inner work at that point. I didn't know myself very well. I didn't understand parts of myself.
What would you do? What would you, let's say you're coaching that version, like what would you say?
I would ask why. Like, why do you think this relationship isn't going to last? And then depending on that,
what would you have said?
If I was coaching Kevin, what would Kevin have said at the time?
Correct.
Geez. Probably that I probably would have said we're two very different people. I'm not outgoing. I'm very shy. I'm very quiet. I'm very behind the scenes. And this person, my partner, is not. Is probably what I would have said.
So why can't that work?
I think the way I was feeling and the way I was thinking at that time was I had a very fixed mindset. So I assumed the way I was the way I was forever. And I was not outgoing. I was not into trying new things. I was just stubborn. I was super scarce and super stubborn to the point where, I mean, that's something I'm working on all the time. I'm always working on that just because I don't want to do something. So digging beyond the surface level of why don't I want to do something? Why don't I want to? Alan just almost fell off his chair. Why don't I want to do blank? Is it because I'm afraid of the uncertainty? Is it because I'm afraid of social anxiety? Is it because I'm afraid of the result? Am I going to look like an idiot? It depends on why I actually don't want to do that. But back then, it was very much I was closed off to anything that was outside of my comfort zone. And obviously now, in retrospect, I can look back and notice that. But at the time, that was just my normal, and I didn't know any different. So I think I would have had to have somebody say, well, why can't you just expand your comfort zone a little bit? Like, is this relationship worth you doing that? And again, I'm happy that I lived that part of my life and I took those lessons away and I've gone on to the most magnificent relationship. But it's just interesting to look back and understand.
You started
where I
doing
was.
that after she left. That's the interesting thing. Is
That was
once she
that
left
was the
you,
pain.
that's when.
That was the pain.
Which catalyzed what?
I remember having the conversation with myself of who is going to love me. I remember like really thinking that, like, who could possibly love this version of Kevin? And that was a tough realization. So for me, it was the pain motivated me. The pain motivated me to do something different. Are your eyes all right, man?
Yeah, I'm just tired, and yeah, I'm grateful to you. These lights, man, they get to me sometimes.
For those listening, Alan will be looking directly like in my eyes through the camera, and then he just looks to the left quickly a couple times, and then looks to the right.
My contacts are drying out, so I gotta moisten them up so I can stay focused here.
Your boys are struggling. It has been a grind of a month. August was an absolute grind of a month. But this is I told this on a podcast recently, and I completely forgot about this. I remember after I went through the kind of dealing with the loss phase and just pouting and feeling bad about myself, I remember I got my hair done, I got some clothes, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go out and approach people. Like, I'm literally just going to go to the mall and start talking to women. Nice. And I remember that was like an awesome time in my life because I was proving myself wrong. I was proving my fears wrong, and I was proving my confidence side right. And I remember that was an awesome time in my life because I proved so much to myself. But that all came from me manifesting my biggest fear, realizing I had done it, and then saying, well, what do I do to avoid this in the future?
You know, that's going to be my intention for this episode based on what you just said right there. That was powerful. I was proving my fears wrong. I think that you're going to manifest your fears unless you prove your fears wrong. I think I remember I had a girlfriend for many, many years, and she always said something along the lines of, I'm never going to be good enough for you, or something like that. And I used to try to explain this. I used to say, well, with that mentality, you won't. Because if you believe that you're not, you won't put in the work to be good enough. And I thought this person was more than good enough. But if she didn't believe that, it doesn't matter what I believe. Like, I can sit here, seriously, like, think about this. When Kev first came to me and was like, I want to be a podcaster, I remember thinking, like, well, of course you can do that. Like, awesome, go do that. Me believing that doesn't really matter that much. Aside from me saying, hey, you can totally go do that, it doesn't really affect Kevin's life that much. In this case, it did because he stayed in my corner. But, like, let's imagine he didn't for a second, and I'm like, Kev, you can totally go do that. And then he goes about his merry way. And unless he believes that, it doesn't really matter. So I think that we all have desires and we all have fears. And if your desires are not something that you believe in more than your fears, you're going to inevitably manifest the fear. It's kind of like, I'm going to try to use this as an analogy. I was thinking about this earlier. So when Emilia and I were looking for houses, we put in $500,000 for the filter because we wanted to be in that price range. So anything above that, we were like, no. And we did a cost value analysis. We had a whole spreadsheet about it. So she wanted Yeah, she of course. So she wanted skylights, and she wanted open floor plan. I don't know the terms, the house terms. I'm not good at real estate or home. She was in real estate, so she knows all the terms. But she had master bathroom, in the master bedroom, that kind of thing. I had good Wi-Fi, needs to have really good Wi-Fi. And I think I had somewhere private in the woods, like somewhere with woods. I like woods a lot. I grew up in the woods. I just love the woods. Okay, so I had very few things. I think I had 3 things. I honestly forget in this moment. And I think she had garage on there so that we wouldn't have to wipe the snow off our cars. So anyways, when you go online and you look for homes, if you've never done this, you put in those preferences. And then the homes that are on the market that match those preferences show up. I think that's kind of what's happening with all of us all the time with our fears and our desires. It's kind of like, okay, well, if you have a desire for an intimate partner who, and I did this prior to meeting Emilia, I want someone who is more aspirational than me, has bigger goals and dreams than me, who's more growth-oriented than me. And I remember Kevin and I having a conversation behind the scenes in our old studio, which was actually my mother's basement at the time. Wild to look back at. And you were like, well, who's more aspirational than you? I don't understand. And I'm like, well, there's got to be somebody, right? So what's happening is if you don't believe in your desires, you're naturally not going to filter out anything except the fears. Because we notice things in our environment that we're afraid of or that we desire. So I'll give you one more example. If you're super afraid of, Emilia's afraid of spiders. She doesn't like spiders that much. So whenever there's a spider in our house, she'll call me to grab it. And we don't ever kill the spiders. We capture them in a jar. I actually accidentally broke the leg of one spider recently, which sucked because we like to put them in a jar and put them outside. We don't like to kill things, genuinely. So anyways, she notices spiders way more than I do, though. I never notice. And she's always noticing them. It's because she's afraid of them. Yeah. And I think that when we're fearful of certain things, we notice them more. We're more likely to notice them. So for example, you had an insecurity about being short. You're much more likely to notice when you're around really tall people in photos. Whereas for me, I would never really notice, and because that's not a fear of mine. I'm not afraid to look short, right? So for everyone out there listening or watching, I want you to think about your desires and think about your fears. And if you're not believing in your own ability to create the desires enough, you're actually inevitably going to manifest your fears because your fears are going to get your focus. And what gets your focus is going to manifest, essentially.
What is up, you guys? My name is Gabby, and I just want to give a huge shout out to Kevin and Alan for the community that they have created and the mission that they are on over at Next Level University. Never in a million years did I think when I started listening to the Hyperconscious podcast 2 years ago that I would be as invested as I am today. But here we are 2 years later. I have done group coaching. I truly look forward to every single episode they drop, all of the things that they're teaching. And I am now doing one-on-one coaching with Alan to help level up in my business. And all I gotta say about these guys across the board is they are true, genuine souls. They mean it when they say they are heart-driven, and they mean it when they say they are no BS. And I think that's probably my favorite part about them. They get rid of the fluff. They give you tactical tips and tricks to help you level up in your life, to help you make strides towards your goals. And they've created a community of like-minded people to lean on each other at every single stage of life. So guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the impact that you have made in my life, and I am so very excited to see the impact and the waves that you make from here on out.
I was, the fact that you just said you're afraid of being around tall people, you shared a picture of me, you, and Matt. So,
oh, yeah.
And if you don't know Matt, I think Matt's 6 feet, or he's taller than I am.
6'1", yeah.
I'm going to share that. I'll share it at some point, and I'm literally this is going to be my caption. Kevin and his 2 stepfathers. Because I look like a little child next to you two. I'm in the middle. It's what I should do is just.
He's
put my
also
arms
a very large man. So
well, you're both much larger than I am. So, but I'm used to it. But yeah, that is funny. I think what it is. I mean, okay, I'll ask you this because I think what I'm realizing about you, and this is over the last, yes, 5 years, but really the last maybe year, maybe 6 months, I don't know. You're really good at breaking things into an algorithm,
framework.
A formula, algorithm. Do you believe when you have a fear that attaches to your identity, which then attaches to your belief, and then that creates your behaviors, and then you get the results? When we talk about self-fulfilling prophecy, aka you manifesting your fears, basically is what we can say. Do you think it's because you adopt the identity of somebody? So for me, I don't deserve this person. I'm not the type of person who can sustain a relationship with this. I don't believe this person's going to stay with me long term. Therefore, my behaviors reflect my beliefs, and then my results ultimately reflect my behaviors, beliefs, and identity.
Yeah.
What do you think about what are your thoughts on all that?
What are my thoughts on all that? Well, we've done episodes on identity before. I think that your identity comes down to what you say, think, do, feel, and believe consistently. And they all leak into each other. So if let's say you do believe that your ex-girlfriend, you're not deserving or you can't be with someone like her. That's really the belief at the core is. It's not that you're not deserving. I mean, maybe on some level, but I think it's more, I don't believe I can be with her because she has big dreams and I don't, and I'm shy and she's not, and she's going to go out there and set the world on fire, so to speak, and I'm not going to be able to do that. Yeah. So you have a fixed mindset and you have a deep belief that you can't be with someone like her. As a matter of fact, you told me you were surprised she ever got with you in the first place, right? Yeah. So if you have that deep belief, that's going to leak into what you say and don't say. So maybe you won't say things that are confident, like I'm going to go to the mall and talk to strangers. Okay. You're not going to do audacious things that actually would build your self-belief because you believe you're shy. So I'll just use shy as an example. Okay. So let's say Kevin believes he's shy, and he did back then.
Yep.
And that's his identity. I believe that I'm a shy person, and I believe I can't change that. Now you're going to say shy things or not say shy things. You're going to do shy things or not do shy things. You're going to think shy thoughts, and then you're going to feel shy, which is going to make you act shy, which is going to reinforce the belief that you're shy. So it's almost like you have to kind of, and I've done this many times with clients. I was on the phone with a team member yesterday, and I said, just so you know, when I take you through this, you can't unsee this. What I'm about to share with you, it was the framework we're going to share tonight on the meetup, which is the vibrations of the victim, the villain, the hero, and the guide. And I said, once I take you through this, you're going to see this everywhere. You're not going to be able to unsee it. So I hope you know that, right? Because the implications are big. Because when you shift someone's deeper understanding of themselves or the world, everything else has to shift. And that's why those aha moments, everyone think of a moment in their life where they were like, I know I'll never be the same now. Like, now I get it. Like, that clicked, that landed. And it was, that was the moment where it happened, but it was a lot of an accumulation up to that moment. And hopefully on this podcast, you're having those aha moments or breakthroughs often. If you're not, we're obviously not doing our job well. But that's what I would say to that is your beliefs about yourself might be fear-based. Your beliefs about the world are probably fear-based. And while I think fear is useful for keeping us alive, I don't think it's useful for helping us thrive, especially when most of our fears are irrational. And this will be the last thing I say on this episode, which is, and I've talked about this so many times, but I think it's the best examples. I mean, Emilia's afraid of spiders, like I said, but like spiders aren't going to like kill you. I mean, in New England, we live in New England. How many people per year die of spiders? I mean, the answer is next to none, maybe a couple, I don't know. But yet you get in your car every single day, and people die in car accidents all the time, but yet she's not scared of that at all. So it's just fears are usually irrational, but they will manifest if you're not. This is actually why I'm such an advocate of goals and dreams, Kev, because if you don't have goals and dreams, your fears will take the garden. You having goals and dreams forces you to like feed that aspirational wolf more than the fear wolf. And so you're going to end up much better off, even if you don't get the goals and desires. That's what I told Kev. Like, even if we don't get to our dreams, at least we'll get unstuck from all the junk and all the fear. Because you have to want something more in order to like face and overcome your fears. And that's probably a whole nother episode. But
you know what I think jumped off the page from you when you were saying that? I think for me, one of two things happens. And in the past, A would happen, now B happens. Maybe it's probably deeper than that. But in the past, my focus was on staying safe as the way I was. That was my focus. That was 100% my focus. Where now...
Subconsciously, right?
I would say consciously too. I was
Really?
thinking of that. Yeah, that's why I made a lot of the decisions I made.
Yeah.
Because I want to stay in alignment with who I think I am. And
Right.
at a deep level, I did think I was shy. I did think I was all those negative things. I really did. Yeah, that wasn't that was conscious for me. I really believe that at a deep level. I always thought I was a nice person, a kind person with a kind heart, but I never thought I was super deserving of much. So I think that was conscious. Where now my thought process is, what's my identity now? Who do I believe I am? I believe I'm a world-class podcaster, right? A very successful business owner. I have to do the things that are in alignment with that. I had a moment today, Alan. So I'll take the listeners behind the scenes. I actually woke up in the middle of the night last night, and my throat was so sore. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm getting sick. I've been feeling run down, honestly, since I got back from Colorado. So whatever that is, 3 weeks. And I was like, I'm going to sleep in a little bit. I'm going to see how I feel. I woke up and I literally canceled all my meetings for the day other than the essentials. So like we had our officers meeting. Alan and I are recording this episode. I recorded Podcast Growth U, and I think we had maybe one other meeting together, and we have the meetup tonight. But I canceled everything else, and I literally felt bad about it because I was like, that's not the identity I'm trying to uphold. Like I'm not the type of person who, when it gets rough, stops. Like that was actually very challenging for me. Now I also said to myself, I need to take care of myself because I am burning to the ground. Like it's getting bad. But that was an inner dialogue, an inner civil war I had with myself. So that's probably a whole nother episode. But it really is, if you have an identity, you have a belief of who you are, you're going to do what you do in order to stay in alignment with that.
100%.
And oftentimes your results are going to be, all the time your results are going to be a direct reflection of that. So you really, really have to be hyper conscious of the thoughts that you're having about the results that you think you're going to get. And that's going to change everything.
I think the very last thing I'll say, I know I said that before, but I know we got to go. Kev, let's say someone has a partner and the partner says, I don't deserve someone like you, or no, I can't be with someone like you. Okay, well, with that mentality, you're not going to go and do the things that are required in order to... Like, if you say, I can't be a successful business owner, well, the chances of you going and learning how to become a successful business owner are zero, because you've already cut off the possibility. Whereas if you say, I don't know how to be a successful business owner yet, you might go learn how to do that. And a lot of everyone just check in with their fears. What are the fears that might be manifesting themselves? I know a lot of people think they're very unlucky. It's like, well, you're probably looking for all the unlucky things instead of all the really incredible things. And I think it's very hard to stay at 5 because I think we're either overly looking at the losses or we're overly looking at the wins, and it's inflating. It's very hard to stay at 5 because of all this. So, yeah.
It is a challenge. It is
Powerful
a challenge
episode.
for sure. But very powerful episode. I'm glad we did this. This was Alan's idea, so I'm grateful you brought this idea. I think it was very well timed and very appropriate, and hopefully very valuable to our amazing community. Next Level Nation, as you know, Next Level University, Alan and myself, we're pretty much purely virtual, where we do all of our coaching virtual. The podcast is always virtual, but we are going to do a couple things every year that are in person. We're going to do a retreat every year, and we're going to do at least one Next Level Live. We did our first Next Level Live this year. It was March 23rd, 2022. We are doing our second Next Level Live March 25th, 2023, and it is going to be a purely NLU event where it is going to be Alan and I on stage for the entire event. It's going to be far more personal and deep, and we're going to have a meditation. We're going to have a bunch of different things where it's not just an event where you go and you watch people talk on stage. It's going to be very back and forth. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for growth. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for participation. We're going to do it again in Worcester, Massachusetts. It's however many months away, but we want to start priming your mind. So if you do want to come, you can plan your travel early. You can make sure that date is available, and you can come see us in person. We are super, super excited.
And it's a day that is entirely designed for the NLU community, by the NLU team, and it's going to be unbelievable. So 33 days from this moment, we are opening our 8th round of group coaching, 8 rounds. That means we're looking for people who are ready to get to the next level. Think of group coaching as bi-weekly sessions with a team of like-minded individuals focused on a particular curriculum to Mario Kart boost, for lack of better phrasing, you into your dreams. It's going to talk about clarity, relationships, consistency. There's going to be habit tracking. There's going to be next level reports. There's going to be a private WhatsApp group, an assistant coach. It's really a well-polished product at this point. We already have several people who are signed up. If you are interested, please DM Kevin or myself, or click the link in the show notes to go to the group coaching landing page. You can apply there. We are only ever taking 10 people per quarter, so only one group per 90 days. So sign up now.
Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 1079. Another reason why self-awareness is so important. Did we figure out... also, if you are listening to this on Monday, tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live in Next Level Nation, we have our weekly live podcast as well. So every single Monday, we go live in our private Facebook group, 20-minute episode, 20-minute Q&A. Tonight, if you're listening on Monday, we are talking about how to figure out what's really making the difference in your life with your results. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out